Oops.
Good evening. It's Monday. It must be Airfix and Chill. Good evening, everyone. A bit thin on the ground tonight. I know Luke's working, and who else? John's going to be in a bit later because he's working as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of I don't know why. I've not heard anyone else. I think John Parker's in China, isn't he? He's gone to China, so a bit thin on the ground. But then again, we just had a. Was it bank holiday? Is it bank holiday Monday, Easter Monday, and everything? So, but yeah, it's where we've got the three of us. So it may be a bit of a controversial topic, but I wanted to talk about it really. Oh, Dirk said that's good. We've got somebody else turned up. That's good. We'll add him in when his device is connected. But it's a bit of a dive. Yeah, it's one of those sort of topics where it can go either way. Right up from the get-go, I'm going to just say that YouTube and the algorithm is not being friendly to us scale modelers when it comes to German World War II subjects. I'm going to bring it up now right from the very beginning. I personally have had a video taken down which, looking through, one of the decals had a particular symbol on it. Max Models had a video taken down because we believe it was a German tank, but I think it was the
music.
But we don't know that.
No. We're
only guessing because when you go and do the appeal, within 5 minutes they shut you down again and they don't give you a reason or at what point on the video you've caused offense to the algorithm. So that's one part of the debate, okay, on should we be hiding models, and the other bit is how far do you build your models when it comes to accuracy. Is there certain symbols you don't use? Do you feel that have you built a model in a destroyed sort of stance, to glorify the fact that it had been shot down, things like that. There's all sorts of ways, and also the other point of it is how accurate do models have to be for you to build them, or do you just not care? Because when I was building models originally, a Spitfire Mark 5 would be releasing another Spitfire Mark, no difference in the tooling. They just give you the decals to make it look like a particular mark. So there's a lot to go through. But first off, we've got James in, we've got Zinzan in, we've got nice to see you, my friend. Been a while.
Sorry.
He's in a nightclub at the moment. He's just popped out of the nightclub, I think. But hopefully we'll get more on as well. If you have any thoughts, opinions, put it in the chat. We put on subscriber mode because we've had some trolling where people have, weird names have come up, and not necessarily they're trolling us in the response of they don't like us. It's just natural trolls asking you to point to different websites and things like that, which normally doesn't show up on here because I've got, unless you are a moderator, you can't post links in the thing. They just get blocked straight away. But I've noticed when I've gone back through, there has been certain things. So we've got that in. It's only in 5 minutes. So if you haven't subscribed, just click subscribe, and in 5 minutes you can then have your.
I've done it for an hour, Moss.
You've done it for an hour. I haven't. I've done it for 5 minutes. You know, if they're going to wait around 5 minutes, you know, I think most of the trolls will have buggered off by after 5 minutes anyway. So, right. So let's go for the first part then. Do you feel that you can build scale models now accurately without using certain symbols of the Third Reich, etc.? And oh yeah, by the way, disclaimer to YouTube: this is a discussion. We don't believe, we're not far right. You know what I mean? We're not. Yeah. We understand, but
in the context of historical accuracy,
neither will we be going away and glorifying this sort of thing.
No,
because we talked about it tonight.
No, the only thing we're glorifying is the excessively great work that some of these scale models do to make a model look like it's real. Okay, but yeah, how far do we go with accuracy when it comes to painting and symbolizing the vehicle? Personally, I don't think I've put a Swazi on a plane in about 10 years, and that's not because of choice, but because they're not even in the boxes.
No.
If you think about it. Or I've done a scheme, I prefer to build Japanese weapons of war than German. Just saying. James, what about you? Have you built a model recently or in the last 10 years that have certain symbols on that you wouldn't do now?
I've had one. I have not built any aircraft that have had it. Basically, because they don't get supplied with them.
Yeah.
I did order a packet of them for. I had the 124 scale Stuka and Focke-Wulf 190, so I brought a packet.
Yeah.
To do it, but obviously sold them on.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
I mean, I am careful enough to watch when I'm building armor because they have Africa core markings, and obviously they have a palm tree, and that has a certain symbol on it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, most of them do a square around it.
Yeah.
But obviously, Tamiya don't. They hiked it out, or say the stair. I was going to put this flag on the stair, and I looked at it and I thought, no, I can't. It's got the eagle.
Yeah.
And it's clasping the symbol below. I thought, nope, throw them in the bin.
I would say I've seen a German halfback once with that symbol with the eagle on. They had gently weathered it and made it dirty right across that symbol. And I thought very cleverly done. So it was there, but they had put like a brush mark across it, like a bit of dirt. So, what about you, Zinzan? Do you build a lot of German sort of warfare vehicles?
I acquired one, which was a Focke-Wulf 190A8, which was a Hasegawa model, and I just took a look at the details, which I didn't in fact use at all, and I'll tell you why in a minute.
Yeah.
And that has got that sign on it. It's got a pair of them, and they were generally put on the vertical tail fin, as you all know. I got round the problem because I decorated it as a captured aircraft, which means that in 1944 it had the RAF dark green, ocean grey upper side, and then the yellow underside. So it was painted up as a prototype aircraft. So I got round it that way, and I could then put roundels on it, which don't have the same problem.
Yeah.
But I don't build many German aircraft or Axis forces, tanks and things like that. I'm probably missing out, but there's more than enough for me to be going at for now, at least. Anyway, on the Allied side, as it were, and in more modern aspects, and so that doesn't really become too much of an issue for me. But I can be a problem, but. In overall terms of accuracy, yes, I like to make them as accurate as I can, and this includes excuse me, researching into what the aircraft looks like inside, the real aircraft, how the wear on the seat goes, for example, those sort of things, so that you can mimic it and make the whole thing as realistic as you can. So I always do that. I always try to get it as good as I can in that regard, and it's different in some cases than in others, of course.
Yeah, I get that. Somebody made a comment here. What about the Japanese rising sub flag? Isn't that bad? No, it isn't. And I think the problem you've got is that if
there is one exception if you use the Imperial Japanese Navy ensign.
Yeah.
That is the only exception for that one, because that is actually banned.
Is it banned? Is it?
In China.
Yeah.
Because if you remember the late Oscar modelling, he had bought that the hovercraft, and his decals had a nice Sharpie covered decal.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because my point is that the difference between Japan, Italy, just talking, those that were on the, the evil axis, we should say, Italy, Japan, and all that, is the fact that the heinous crimes that the Nazi Party did in regards to the Jewish element. I think that if it was just a war between man and man, and you didn't have this, mass murder of a particular race or creed or or nation, I don't think it would have been a problem personally. But because of that history, that's why it's legitimately banned. And the fact of the matter is that it isn't even originally their symbol. They stole it, and they've it's the symbol's been abused.
Or if you want to call it in so-called work terms,
it's
culturally appropriated or something like that.
Yeah, they're really appropriate. But yeah, so that symbol, and that's. But I think that
speaking from a historical perspective, there is quite a bit of old pain in there as well. And I think it's quite understandable that certainly in Germany that you would get a ban for that particular Swazi. Let's just call it the Swazi. That makes total sense, right? Because that's something that everyone will understand. The problem mostly is that is subject to certain guidelines. You can actually use it for display in an historical context, in a educational context, which is perfectly fine if you do it that way. The problem that most of us are having, not in my case because I don't do recordings and I don't post pictures of it, I just build them.
Yeah.
Is the public display of certain things, especially with social media and the algorithms behind that one, is that those algorithms cannot get the context of what it actually is and in which context is actually being posted. That's the biggest problem that we, as a internet-based community, have at the moment. And it's not just this one. There are certain other things that are banned for legal reasons, and the problem is social media companies are operating worldwide.
Yes.
So they will go for the lowest common denominator in this case. That is the strictest law, and they will apply that one because that's a safe bet for them. And that is why they use that particular ban hammer every time that just a notion or even a suggestion comes up in that case. They use the ban hammer because they don't want to run any risks. Even if they're completely unnecessary.
On that flip side, though, is it because that symbol is in use now for these groups of people that there is a more stronger influence on just if you see that symbol, it's now taken offline.
Yeah.
Is it because it's being used now by far right groups, etc.?
There are always far right groups that use different versions. If you some of us may remember, you had the Afrikaner Weerstandsbeweging in South Africa. They used a 3-prong version of the same symbol. And that is, it makes absolutely no difference. Everyone that sees that gets the message.
Yeah.
That's the whole point behind using those symbols. The problem is that, well, as I stated, these things are used internationally, and there's no actually good way to pinpoint. Okay, I can use it in Germany and under these circumstances, and I can use it in France under these circumstances, and I can use it in the UK in these circumstances, and I can use it in Zimbabwe in another circumstance. That's way too complex, and these companies, social media companies, are about making money from advertisements.
Yeah.
And anything that is controversial in the sense that might give advertisers issues, they will stop that from happening. The rest is pure engagement, but if a company that advertises doesn't want to be associated with that particular symbol.
Yeah, I do see that. I do see that, but I understand all that, but that doesn't stop. That doesn't stop a film production company doing a film about World War II, not putting that symbol all over the screen to represent this is World War II Germany.
No, but
So
that is the exception to. If you can look at the law, basically that's the German law that actually has that particular item in there. It has several exceptions, in which case you can actually display that symbol.
Yeah, but my point also is being that, you know, if this, you know, that doesn't stop, you know, film companies. You know, you could go in. You know, I remember. Was it 4 or 5 years ago? There was a production of Anne Frank at the local theatre. Symbols everywhere, you know, to show you know, because it gives you context.
Again, that's educational context, right?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get at is that should not be it. But what I'm trying to get at is that the algorithms or whatever, and people's, you know, this idea of, you know, not, you know, we don't want to see this on our platform. That is not a reason for them to do it because it's kind of advertising.
No, it's a perfectly normal reason for them because that's where they make their money from.
Yeah, but it's not a bad symbol. But it's not a bad symbol. But like I'm saying, I go to a cinema, and all the adverts come on before this film starts. They haven't made a thing saying we don't want our advert to be put in front of these people before the film starts, and that's the same with YouTube. You know, or with Facebook, and we're not showing far. We're not saying that we're far right. We're just
you're not doing it for ideological purposes. That's exactly not the point. And again, that's not where they filter against. It's just money.
But I'm just saying
that's what it is.
Yeah, you know, so we're only I'm not trying to argue for YouTube, Facebook, and all these other companies. You know, it's just that we now have the fear as YouTubers, Facebook, that we're going to lose our channels and lose our, our way of earning money. And not for anything that we've done, but we're trying to, make sure that we don't repeat history by making sure that we remember our history. And if you've got companies that are doing this because of advertising, that's bullshit.
They're fucking stupid about it. There's no question about that.
Yeah,
they're absolutely fucking stupid about it.
Yeah, and we end up, like I said, you used to see, about, even Mark Felton. We were talking about it before. He's done a video about he was sent a German flag. And he opens up the package, and you can see it on the video. There's a German flag. He's talking about it. But on his thumbnail, he's blurred out the cross on his video. Unbelievable. Censorship. But that's what I'm saying, is that do you find yourself not building
but
these...
that's a censorship on a platform that is a private platform. It's not publicly funded.
Yeah.
Right? So
but at the end of the day,
they have a monopoly. They have a monopoly in place, because that's basically YouTube is the biggest online video or live streaming, whatever you want to call it.
Well,
but there are alternatives.
Yeah.
That don't have these algorithms, that are basically just throwing up the advertisements, and the advertisers are not happy being associated with that particular symbol. That's the only reason that they use this particular algorithm that is so completely stupid and bonkers in order to stand down on it. And their guidelines for writing that one is, again, as I said, using the lowest common denominator and has no exceptions, just to avoid risk.
Yeah.
And that's a business decision on a private platform.
I think one of the things about this is, I mean, and people like Moz here and Nigel particularly, much more at risk, shall we say, than someone like me. And I've only got about 3 subscribers. Hello to all 3 of you tonight. It's the apparently fairly arbitrary way in which this is done, and the fact that shall we say, the right of appeal, such as it is, doesn't seem to exist to any meaningful degree.
No.
It's not.
No, but it never existed in the first place.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be conducted in a face-to-face way. I mean, for example, if I want to discuss something with Nigel, then I can send him an email, and he can say to me, "Oh, give me a phone call, and we can have a talk about it, and we can do this."
Give me a phone call. I'll meet you in the forest. You've got to dig a hole there.
Yeah. and all of that. With you
can make an appeal, but that only works if you have your if you're big enough to have a contact, and even then it's problematic.
It becomes 2-tier at that point, and at that stage, if you've got 8 million subscribers, then you can make a quick phone call and back you come. But I noticed that someone's just put a comment up there saying ban the Z. Well, yeah, okay. Well, perhaps I'm going to disappear in a minute.
No, but I'm just finding it. Do you find yourself, if you get a kit which has that symbol on it, do you find yourself not putting that symbol on it just because of?
No.
I put it on the.
I will put it on.
What about you, Nigel? Would you put it on? Even if
I think I would put it on. I would have some difficulty putting it on YouTube, but
I'm not talking about on the channel, Nigel. Say you build in a private piece for yourself. Would you put if the symbol's there on a particular market? Would you put it on the?
I go and buy aftermarket decals to put it there.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
It's not in there.
Yeah.
You buy certain other kits and it's broken up, so you can make it up. If you buy one-man army masks, the masks are there for you to make it up.
Do you think they'd stop?
Talking about this evening, to me, is very close to my heart. That Stuka that I did for Border Model was, I think, probably one of the best plastic kits ever made, and it came out beautifully. And I've taken it down, and I'm getting countless emails.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it? I've taken it down because I don't want to risk this hate speech bollocks.
Yeah.
How can I be accused of hate speech?
Being accused of being a white supremacist. I think that's what's more insulting.
But no, it's not so much being a white supremacist. It's like that guy from America that Moss sent me the video of. He's been accused of hate speech because his video features an accurately made model of an aeroplane that flew in the Second World War that had that symbol. I mean, what's next? Are we going to get Port for Evan Roundels or RAF Roundels with the yellow outline?
Oh, it's like if you do a review of the Star Trek episode, I think it's called original series episode. I think it's called Patterns of False.
Yeah, I know the one you mean.
Now, this episode was banned in Germany.
Yeah.
You'd understand why if you watched it. Do you think you get accused of it?
Yeah, but you can watch that episode on YouTube.
You can watch the episode on YouTube.
It's funny, you know, because do you think that social media could be banned because it could be brought into the context of promoting National Socialism? Because I had a video pulled down just for that.
Well,
the issue is here that this is what is known, I think, as perception-based. Well, you can call it policing, but I don't mean policing in the strict sense of the word, but it's perception-based. So it's what the individual thinks. Now, we have perception-based policing in this country, and look what happens. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but there's no perception involved with an algorithm that pulls your video down.
That is the issue you have with this one thing.
Sure.
It's like, there's no human element to this. Like AFC Nuggets just asked, does anybody have knowledge of whether the YouTube mod bots can tell the difference between a Finnish symbol and a German band one? Well, obviously not, because we've had the videos taken down that doesn't even have the symbol on it, the video.
But it's not that symbol. I'm not going to say the word. It's not that symbol because we've had, is it Richard and Leo or something?
Yeah.
They did a Heinkel 111 that didn't even have that symbol on it. That got pulled down. And somebody else with a tank. I know that one of my followers got their channel pulled down because they had a picture of a Tiger tank in their bloody avatar.
Yeah. It wasn't pulled down, was it? It was they had a restriction on the account, didn't they? That's the problem you've got.
It's an absolute joke.
Yeah. And that's why you have the fear.
But what's going to be next? Are we going to be not allowed to do Yamato because the Japanese were so barbarically cruel to everybody in the Second World War? There we go. Paul's just that,
Yeah.
They walked out.
Neither did the Germans, to be honest.
Yeah, but the Japanese
came to spies.
meeting that created the Geneva Convention. They just stormed out. But Germany didn't.
It's absolutely crazy. But it's like I put it down to, like I said in my video when I talked about it. And Moss said this, and he put it in my mind, and he's absolutely 100% dead right. It's their sandpit.
It is.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do.
Well,
it's a priced platform.
Yeah.
It's paid for by the advertisers.
Yeah.
Look at Nigel, for example. He basically had a rant because he was messed around over his motorcycle insurance for Bike Shore. And bugger me, his videos for months was being spammed by Bike Shore Insurance.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Well, see, my problem is this, right? That I can go onto YouTube now and I can watch countless documentaries about Germany, and we're here building replica models of Germany and documenting what they would have looked like by building them, and we're getting hammered. Now, as I said, when people are putting this information up saying, "Oh, my child's been taken down because of this, and this," it's either somebody's got it's either a video about them building a model, and I'm just wondering whether the algorithm sees that as we're glorifying war. But are we really, or are we just glorifying the art of building a
Can I tell you something now that you will not believe? You'll think I'm bullshitting. My mother is 84 years old. She doesn't bullshit. My mother is selling lots of her old bits and pieces that she's got, some antique stuff and all that. And she's selling it all on Facebook Marketplace, is it called? She's got lots and lots of tablecloths. And she's advertised one of these tablecloths, and it's described as tablecloth, white cotton, 4x4, whatever. Yeah? Somebody has complained that she's called it white cotton. That could be construed as being racist. And Facebook took the advert down. So she has now told Facebook to fuck off and close her account.
But this is what I was mentioning before.
So somebody
just stop there.
John, hang on. Somebody complained. She's described a fucking white tablecloth as a white tablecloth. And all right, that person's ultra sensitive. Fair enough. But fucking Facebook have agreed with it.
Yeah. It's gonna get to the point soon where you won't be able to call a garden implement a spade.
God almighty.
You're not going to be able to do it.
It's absolutely, the world has gone fucking mental, excuse my language. And this is where we are with this now. It's just absolutely, and the thing that's most annoying about it all, it's like, if Roger says something, if Zinzan says something to me that's offensive, Moss takes it on and says, no, you should have said that to him, he's offended. I don't care if I'm offended, but Moss wants to push it forward. And that's what's happening. It's a third party that's saying other people are offensive.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Taking offense on behalf of other people is one of the
two-tier social media it is.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry for my rant, but that with my mother really was my shit.
I'll tell you a little something, Nigel. I tell you a little this off the.
The other thing is if you still had the classified listings in your newspaper, and you put it in there, nobody would have any problem with it.
No.
Just
so you see where the problem is.
Can you hear me? Is my mic working?
Yeah, can you?
Yeah. Right, so this was the crux of one 2 years ago on eBay. A woman put up sold a doll, black doll, baby doll, and she sold it to somebody. And a month later, she got her account taken down because eBay said it was racist. And she said, "I'm a black person. This was my doll when I was growing up, right? And I've actually sold it to another black person. How is that racist?" And it brought eBay into disrepute, really.
Yeah.
They thought they were doing the moral high ground, banning this sort of stuff being sold. And
it's not.
It's
like Heathrow. Many years ago, they used to police Facebook. Anyone put any comments down in there, they didn't like it. And someone mentioned about a character that was on the marmalade jar, Robinson's marmalade.
Yeah.
And that young lady got suspended because someone didn't like it. He also took Heathrow to court because we changed over from the archways to scanners, and we had one of the units. Dual units on either side of the scanner. One had master, the other one had slave. He got taken. He took Heathrow to court, and he lost.
But the woman who got banned from wearing a cross didn't know, did she? The woman who got banned from wearing a cross, she won a court case, though, didn't she?
Yeah.
It's all going to turn around. It's all going to come back. It's just it can't. I mean, with engineering terms like male and female, they want to kill that, don't they? And
master and slave is a engineering term.
Master cylinder, slave cylinder on a car. Is that going to have to change?
Yeah.
Yeah. Black ball, white ball.
What's it going to be? First cylinder, secondary cylinder.
Black hat or white hat when it comes to your SEO, things like that.
Well, it's a good thing we only use MVME and SATA disk these days, because back in the old days, with your old IDE cables, you had to pin them in master and slave.
Yeah.
You remember that one? You have to plug over the switches on the back of your hard disks.
Yeah. Have you heard of that thing going around the schools at the moment about whether they're allowed to call them midget gems?
There's all sorts, mate. It's been,
It's pathetic, though, isn't it?
Yeah, they're called ickle gems. Ickle gems.
Have to call them little gems.
Little gems. Ickle gems.
How long before chocolate brownies get banned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Chocolate.
That's it, right? As we said in the beginning, there are legal rules in this case for certain things not to be displayed in a non-educational or historical context. And the problem is, if your channel is basically an entertainment channel or a hobby channel, it doesn't fit that particular bill, because there are historical channels like Duck Info, for instance, or some of the other guys who do proper historical work.
Yeah.
But they are branded as such, and they are mostly exempt for that kind of stuff. So it's not like it's a total ban, but it's also context aware. And the problem is that most of the AI tuning that they're written, algorithms. Let's call it. They're calling it AI these days, but still the same code. They are not as smart.
Nigel's the first, actually, Graham. Nigel's going to be the new Pope.
Oh, definitely. I've got the green coloured smoke ready. I have for that one. Let me just
black and white snow. Okay, that's a grey area.
I'm looking for the comment. I'm looking for the comment for military collectibles. Where's that to here? I'm trying to find it. Military collect. I've just seen it, and I went to star it, and it jumped on me. I'm just trying to find it. Military. Can you see it there at all, James? Military. No, I found it. There you go.
Yeah.
From 2008 to 2024, I had a radio control Tamiya King Tiger on my channel, German emblem on full view for 17 years. And all of a sudden, YouTube got so rich, they grew a conscience and started a cull.
Yeah.
That's where I think that nails it on the head, doesn't it? Because my video was 2.5 years old, and I had to go and do the course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, So there's a lot to be said about this. Do the course, don't do it again.
I think it's
my video of the Tiger 131 running on Tiger Day Bovington was flagged by YouTube as over 18s only. A Tiger because that's got no symbols on it, has it? That Tiger 131 at Bovington.
No.
Is that right?
No, Tiger 131 is captured by the bloody British.
Yeah. Because that's got no symbols on it at all, is it?
No.
131.
Hasn't it got the black and white crosses on the turret?
It only has.
I think it's just got Tiger 131 written on the turret, hasn't it?
Have a look.
Has the Balkan
It's
Kreuz
got
on
131, but hasn't it got the German crosses on it?
Yeah, on the hull.
It's on the hull.
But
Tiger 131 images.
what's next? Are we going to have to ban red circles?
Yeah,
Are
it's
your
got
pre-mid-wave World War II aircraft going to get banned because they have a Japanese Qatari in the
Raven Sun flag? Yeah. The red
also,
star.
leave out the close-up of the kill markings if you do.
Yeah.
The B-29
Or the
was banned because they killed more civilians than anybody else.
Yeah.
But again, as we said,
will an ice cream cone become offensive?
You can't.
Yeah.
As we said in the beginning of the show, and Nigel wasn't in them, but in at least in China and possibly also Korea, you can't use the Imperial Japanese Navy ensign.
Yes.
The one with the 16 banners. That's outlawed over there.
Yeah, I've noticed with these Verifire are going big time on making kits of IJN ships.
Yeah.
And they all have, on the box, they have Beaver Models incorporated USA. So they're obviously, it was the same with Yamato, wasn't it? Trumpeter maybe did.
Yeah.
It was Glow 2B.
Glow 2B made in Germany, yeah.
So that's what's happening now, because I did hear James say that, I remember, God rest his soul, Peter had the Japanese hovercraft thing, and the decals were actually, copied out with a bloody with a magic
magic marker.
It's
but as I said, the question was really, we're YouTubers, we are struggling, we are scared, hence why, it's like, enjoy that, John.
Sorry.
that. Yeah.
Hang on.
I thought he was in McDonald's.
Join the club.
The full part is mine.
That's going to be the most viewed part of this video.
It wasn't at my nose.
All of us here are basically YouTubers in one gauge or another.
Yeah.
And we show off our models. And then, but the fear for me is putting models out there and, and then finding yourself being being cancelled because of something you've said or done. And I get that fear all the time.
Yeah.
I get quite anxious sometimes because I try and say things to be funny, but be factual. And like Luke tonight has just said that I said something on his channel about pork, and somebody complained about it, and they said it was racist. And I was trying to be jovial and funny, and you got to be so careful, But then like Jimmy Carr.
Oh, don't! I upset someone on the channel. Is it on another channel about saying mint sauce lamb burgers?
That's what I'm saying. I think Jimmy Carr once said that he will be cancelled on a joke that he has said in the last 5 years. He won't be cancelled with something he said now. It will be something he had said previously over the years. And that's kind of where we're at with scale modeling, really. If I've been putting out videos with certain symbols on, and now it's come to bite me on the ass now.
I mean, for those of you that aren't in the UK, you will not believe what I'm about to tell you. From, I think it's the 1st of April, if you work behind a bar in a pub, a restaurant, whatever, and you hear a couple of guys having a racist conversation and it upsets you, you have to tell the landlord that these people are having a conversation and it's upsetting you. If the landlord goes and tells them and they don't shut up, or if the landlord doesn't go and tell them, you can then sue the company you work for being offended by a conversation between two customers in the part you work in.
Yes, under the title Unsafe Working Environment.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
The very sad thing about this,
you can try it, and we have the same laws in here as well. It's not such a big deal. You can lodge the complaint. That's not the issue. You can file a complaint.
Yeah.
And if you want to get this into court and you want to fight it, that's a different matter.
There'll be an ambulance lawyer out there who'll take on the case. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, especially now in the UK.
Do you think it's going to get so woke soon, this world, that you'll be scared to breathe?
I would be worried about building anything. And we're all out doing Formula One cars. And
you can build what you like. It's just a matter of can you display them on YouTube or social media or whatever, or Instagram or Facebook.
Have your views gone down? I just wondered, when this is all kicked off about 3 months ago, has anyone's views gone down on YouTube? Because mine have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've stayed about the same.
My channel's dead. My channel's dead in the water.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I'm getting between 1 and 4 subs a day.
Yeah.
It's
luxury.
Sorry?
Luxury.
I don't know. I was bloody bored.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is that I used to expect 200, 300 views a day, an hour. Yeah. And I've woken up some mornings and gone back for my analytics, and overnight, I'm getting between 30 and 40 views an hour.
Yeah, but that's because your content's shit, boss.
Oh, is that what it is? No, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah.
That's my excuse.
No, I think it depends. These things, it depends on what you're putting out. You know, if you're putting out something about a Mustang, for example, the aircraft, not the car, that looks like a perennial favourite. A Spitfire thing, if there was a new Spitfire, you'll get views, you know, for views for old road, quite honestly. You know, it really is. You know, I've put some car video out there, you know, didn't get many views, to be honest with you. That's not the reason why I'm not building the car now. But I've done a Sherman tank recently, which it got a few views, and thanks to those that did. But it doesn't get the same amount, and my rate of change of subscribers has certainly dropped back. That's certainly the case.
I think also the time of year, the weather, people aren't modelling so much, are they? I mean, my Mojo, I'm not really interested in modelling, to be honest.
Yeah, too bloody hot.
It's not too bloody hot, it's just...
But in the meantime, manufacturers are still making all the kits from German stuff and all that kind of stuff. So, and there are decal manufacturers that bring out those nasty symbols for us to use.
Well, what's the two most common Warship kits? Bismarck and the Yamato, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I've emailed Richard at Qatari and said, I know this may sound a bit presumptuous, but please don't send me that 109 because I won't be able to review it for you. I don't want to take the risk. So,
is it due out this week, isn't it, or next week, isn't it? 109.
It's been delayed and delayed and delayed. I know that he's put an email out today saying he will not be exporting to America.
Has he now?
Because of the tariffs. Yeah.
Wow. I thought it was due out end of May, you see. I thought it was May 2025. That's
it is, yeah. He said that next few weeks. I thought it was already out, to be honest.
No, yeah. Well, no one's seen the box art yet, have they? There's no pictures of it built yet.
There is. On the Qatari website, there is.
Yeah.
If you can imagine if the plane was sat on the ground and you were a drone looking straight down, that's what the box art is, but the plane in a 90-degree turn.
I see, okay.
And the schemes, it's like World War I schemes on it. Gorgeous.
Yeah. It'll be good. Building is fine. The posting video or pics on social media, that's the issue. WPM, what does that mean?
World of Plastic Modeler.
Oh, World of Plastic Modeler.
Yes. Just as a reminder, there are some comments in here saying you can't build anything. Well, as long as manufacturers are still bringing out kits of German subjects, and your decal printers are still bringing out decal sheets with the stuff on it, even if it is third party, you can build whatever you like. The problem is displaying it on private platforms that are managed by algorithms, subject to rules.
I think my joke has been that obviously when I reviewed a Tiger kit, well, it's 347. They've built 347 Tiger ones. It's an historical fact.
Yeah.
And obviously they've done more models than they did built tanks.
Yeah. Paul Christopher, my YouTube recommendations have stopped showing model-related videos. Get a lot of stuff I don't want because I searched Google for wooden sheds. Now I get lots of woodwork videos. Yeah. That's one of them.
Clean out your viewing history as well every now and then.
Go and clear out your cookies and start again. I'll tell you another one. It's a log out of YouTube and log back in again. I wasn't getting
you can to a certain extent you can steer.
And all I did was
the algorithm.
I logged out of YouTube, then logged back in again, and the subscribers, then the guys I was subscribed to, the video started to recommend it again. So
there is another way to steer your personal recommendations as well. If you go into the history of your viewing, basically on YouTube, you can remove the ones that you don't really have an interest in, just an occasional hit or review or whatever. But if you keep the ones that you're really interested in, you will see that the algorithm will offer you similar content in that case. So you can actually play with the algorithm itself. Just a small recommendation, just go into your viewing history and then clean out the items that you're not basically interested in on a regular basis. And that helps.
Yeah, it does help a lot. The sad reality is that one of two things will happen. Either no one will produce videos or host live streams, or they will put their content behind a paywall, probably on another platform. Yeah, Rumble. If Rumble could get the advertisers in, that would probably work. But then the advertisers, you know, the thing about YouTube is it's linked to Google AdSense, you know, so people advertise on that. That's the problem. You know, when people talk about, you know, I remember the old Microsoft war years ago where they were having a war over if you used their web browser or Netscape browser, you know, because they were saying, oh, it was unfair competition because they were putting the Microsoft browser on my.
God, you're making me feel old now.
Yeah, it's the same with Google. It's the same with Google. They have got it. They've got the.
That's the early 2000s, mate. Come
on.
You're really making me feel old.
I know. Hey, I'm 46 now. Right. Anyway, let's move on from all this.
Yeah.
Because let's talk about accuracy in the modelling side of things. Is it that important that a kit is absolutely spot on accurate? Or can you build it and just wink at it a little bit and look over the bits that aren't quite right when you build a model?
Depends on what sensor you want it.
Yeah. Well,
do you want it accurate in dimensions? Do you want it accurate in paint scheme? Do you want it accurate in detail? Do you want it accurate in weathering?
Yeah.
This is it.
There's all sorts of options if you want to do that.
Aren't we just?
Do you want it historically accurate?
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to get at.
Accuracy in the kit itself.
I'm throwing it out there. I'm throwing it out there because, like I said to you, I've seen modelers complain about the accuracy of a certain kit, but when they paint it up, their scheme ain't accurate. They just lay it on the black. They've just laid it on the green and brown, whatever fits in their airbrush, like, you know.
I'll give you a fantastic example. Comment that was made in the last 3 or 4 days on my channel. Somebody watched my old video review of the Qatari Spitfire. Zinzan commented and said that what a fantastic model it was. The guy was complaining that it had no rivet detail on the wings or the tail plates.
What?
That's because the early Spitfires, all the rivets were filled over, much like the P-51.
They were.
Tail plates and the wings were all smooth. There was no rivet detail. His response, after complaining about the accuracy of the model because there was no rivet detail, his response was, well, I don't like it. I'm getting my riveting wheel out. So he's complained.
Get on with it, Nigel.
And then
I saw
Whoa. Let Nigel finish. Go on, Nigel, carry on.
The kit is inaccurate, and then he's going to make the kit inaccurate.
There's a thing I've said before about this, which is that those who curate museums, and there are many of them, they play their part in history and in preserving it. But I believe quite firmly that companies like Qatari and others who are committed to the accuracy of the models, the historical accuracy, and making them as anatomically accurate as they can, also play their part in curating history too. Because we're now at a point where we're the life of one mediumly old person away from the Second World War, when aircraft like the Spitfire flew, and folklore and stories of the one that got away creep in. It's like looking at a Mark I Spitfire that's got strakes on the inner wings. They weren't fitted, but you will find Spitfires with strakes on the wings, particularly at Duxford, actually. It behoves an individual to either preserve history or not. Your individual that complained to you about and I laughed about that because I thought it was quite amusing, Nigel. He complained to you about this whole thing. I thought, well, okay, you carry on and do what you want to do, friend. I'm going to carry on with a nod to history and to saying to myself, I'm going to try and make it accurate. It's like I'm doing this Corsair at the moment, and I want to make it as accurate as I can to the Corsair that's at the Fleet Air Arm Museum.
That's probably inaccurate anyway.
Well, that's an interesting point. the Corsair at the police.
Is that a Brewster manufactured one?
Yeah,
it's a Goodyear manufacturer, but it had a Brewster tailplane on it because the Brewster Aircraft Corporation, when they were stopped from making the Corsairs, sent their components across to Goodyear so that they could produce these aircraft. Now, in order to make it anatomically accurate, you then have to paint that light blue coloration onto the tailplane and then overpaint it and then start to try and draw it away. In the same way as you have to put a different throttle quadrant on the Tamiya Corsair, because otherwise it won't look like the Royal Naval Fleet Air Arm version. You have to clip the wings off. So if you want to make it anatomically accurate, you have to do a bit of work, but you are curating history and you are being honourable to the memory of it, I think. But that Corsair in and of itself is actually a time capsule because it's remained unchanged since it was built. I don't know if any of you know this, but the engine of that aircraft has never been removed.
It's
never been taken out at all.
What harness has it got in it? I bet it's got a Sutton harness.
It hasn't got any harnesses in it. I've sat in the cockpit.
Oh, no.
It hasn't got any. That's why I didn't put any harnesses in the cockpit of mine.
I had this massive debate with myself about whether the Americans built Hellcats and sent them to us with their harnesses in, or we fitted our own harnesses. And then I found a picture. It's one of these setup pictures with the lovely looking lads all dressed up in their white gear. The harness is hanging out the side of the cockpit, and it's a Sutton harness. Yes.
When I did a walk around of the Corsair and got to sit in the cockpit and do a cockpit review of the Corsair. You'll find it on my channel. And there are no harnesses on that seat.
There must have been day one. There must have been.
Oh yeah, it was a flying aircraft. It was flown. It's just that when it went up to RAF Donny Bristle for decommissioning, it was then sent down to Cranfield Institute of Technology, where it stayed, and that was the end. That was the end of that.
Didn't it make a visit to the pub once?
It was, yes, it was taken to the pub for a bit of a joke because it was a jolly jape, and that's what they did in those days. Good for them, I say.
They flew it to the pub.
No, they just wheeled it there.
Oh, right.
Oh, fair enough.
By that stage, they used to inject preservative into the engines, so it takes quite a long time to get that out. So they couldn't have, they couldn't have done that. But it is a museum piece and a genuine archaeological piece. Because all of the stuff that's in there, the original labels are all on this aircraft, all that sort of thing. The detail is clear right down to the markings on the wingfold mechanism, where they closed them up with, they bonded a piece of muslin to the wingfold mechanism so that it wouldn't get wet when they transported them across the Atlantic on the deck of a ship. Brilliant. Say again?
You still got it there?
Yeah.
Never been folded.
No, the wings have been unfolded. What they did was they stored them wings folded.
Right.
And they put seals over the delicate mechanisms.
Yeah.
Which were then drawn off when you got the aircraft to when you wanted to fly it. So what it did was leave a dark marking on the edge of the wingfold mechanism. And
this is rivet coating now.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. What can I say?
So much.
This is what Zen's all about.
But that's the fun bit of doing it, actually, because then you're working off existing material, you're looking at the pictures of the original one, going through those tiny little things that make it unique, basically.
Yeah, if you want to depict KD431 truly accurately, then you have to put a gas patch on it.
Yeah.
And because the aircraft was painted when it was overpainted when it first went into the aircraft museum at Yeovilton, they've had to draw off all this paint that was put on it, and they've revealed all this stuff, all of this detail, simply by chipping away the top layer of paint over many years. It's an extraordinary piece of work.
Can I just say something? You've just reminded me, Zinzan.
Oh dear.
Has anybody seen these two fantastic videos of Yorktown? They're both 10 hours long.
Wow.
They are 10-hour-long videos. They've dived on Yorktown. It's 3 hours down and 3 hours up, so you've got like 4 hours on the ship. And they've actually gone down into the hangars, and there are Devastators and
you mean the wrecks?
Yeah, the wrecks are down in there.
There's a car in there as well.
And
Right.
yeah, they found the car as well.
And do you know, we have always said in the modelling world that between Coral Sea and Midway, they got rid of the beef burger in the middle of the meatball in the middle of the emblem.
That's right.
At the red circle, because it was similar to the Japanese.
Yeah.
So when you do your model, you must make sure you show some pink through there where it was painted over. No. There's actually now on YouTube, and they go right down. You can see scratches on the paintwork. It's that good in focus. You cannot see a hint of red showing through.
Really?
But there's a
black and white.
It's colour.
And it's not uniform across all the aircraft in the wreckage, because there are also some tail fins that still have the stripes on it, which were supposed to be removed as well.
Where have you seen that?
The same video series.
I haven't seen that. What I have seen is Devastator.
Take a closer look, because there are several that do have the tail stripes, and there are some that don't.
Wow.
On that Yorktown video, there are no aircraft with the rudders still in place. They're all rotted away.
Have you seen the video of the? It was a training ship for the US Navy where a lot of aircraft ended up in this lake, and they've been pulling them out.
Yeah, Lake Michigan.
They've been pulling them out for years.
A steam cruiser and turned it into an aircraft carrier. So they
Wolverine. Yeah.
And that might be where you've seen the stripes, or Lexington's wreck.
Lexington.
But not Yorktown.
Yeah, because Lexington went down the Coral Sea, didn't she?
Yeah.
But even there, you can see a shift from removing certain markings, and it's an intermediate state basically between those two markings, which is kind of normal because there's very little time to get all of the patterns changed.
Yeah, but all the aircraft on Lexington would have been dark, medium sea grey, wouldn't they? They wouldn't have been the three blue colours on them.
Don't speculate. Not the three or four colours. Just
they'd have been white underneath, and just single colour grey over the top, with the old style stars and bars with the red dot in the middle.
I'm not sure.
That was pre-April 1942, wasn't it?
I thought they were pre-tricolour.
That's just the grey, basically. You have the grey.
But before that,
they left that on the underside, and then you have the blue on top.
Before the war, they were pre-war yellow and silver.
Right, I'm just going to go through the comments very quickly. There are quite a few. There should be no decals in the box, as originally they were painted on. Very good, look. I like that. I do like that. Make me chuckle.
I like that one.
Nine is a man after my own heart.
Yeah, I'm going to give that comment a 9. All right, that's pretty good. Rivet counting is fun, but I don't think it's really historically meaningful unless it's actually affected the machine's effectiveness. I get that. Revell's 132nd Spitfire Mark IIA is an accurate model of the museum piece they used as a reference, but not of a wartime Spit.
Oh, it is not.
Yeah, there's a lot of that sort of thing around, to be honest with you.
The Revell 132nd Spitfire 2A is about as accurate as that is.
That's not plastic, you mean? Okay, yeah.
So my third ever model was criticised because I had an airbrushed smoke effect on the outboard side of the Lancaster engine. I was just happy to achieve that effect. It was depicted on the Airfix boxer, which is what I tend to do. It's like I don't look for accuracy. When I get an Airfix kit or Revell kit and they've got 5 schemes in that box. The one that appeals to me by that scheme is the one that I build. Hence the Jaguar with the desert scheme. You know, that's what interests me. I don't care if it's not really me, because I don't know if it's accurate or not. I'm not somebody who put weapons on the back underneath the Vulcan or in the Falklands and I filled them up with fuel. I don't know what things look like really, but you know, I trust what the model companies do. In what they do, and if they do make a mistake, it's probably a genuine reason why they've done it a certain way, you know. So yeah.
Why would there not be a smoke effect on the outboard side of the engine?
Because the outboard engine, and especially the outside exhaust, they are too far below the wing. So aerodynamically speaking, the smoke from the exhaust goes underneath the wing, not on the top side of the wing.
Yeah.
Inner exhausts of the outboard engines do, because the wing has dihedral. It's really silly, but it's true.
Oh, fair enough.
Unless you're building a Revel 1/72nd scale Lancaster, which hasn't got dihedral.
Yeah. For tank praying, I don't mind if they get minor detail wrong. The trumpeter often use different version if they couldn't find the image for a certain part. It's minor enough to ignore. Some kits don't go together well. Would that be called accurate? That's a good shout. Question. I remember the topic last year about HMS Hood's bottom hull being either red or grey. Did anyone ever get to the bottom of that quandary? Nigel will tell you we don't know what it was, do we, Nigel? No one knows.
It's grey.
Yeah, the guys from Sovereign Colors did it once. They did some investigation on that one.
Okay.
Although there's been
historical records.
Heard for the record, they have. It look. I mean, with modern technology now, with all the cameras and stuff, it's probably grey.
How can old subjects be accurate when subjects have been restored as seen fit? Old grainy black and white photos used as reference for colours, etc. That's a good shout on that one. I will say one thing: if you speak to Sully, he will tell you I would say, I'm not going to quote him, but he will tell you that most planes in museums are Frankensteins.
Yeah.
They drag bits off, you know. The idea was to get them flying. These museum pieces, when they've restored them, back in the day, they were trying to restore them to a state where they could get them to fly again. Now, obviously, rules have changed, and the FAA, or whatever it is in this country, will say you can fly that or you can't fly that. You know, you've got to have your planes have got to be certified to fly. And it came to the point when they said, really? I don't think so. And that's why that's where we get
the red crowbar from.
Yeah. But that's why a lot of
that's post-war.
That's why like historic helicopters, you know, with their Sea Kings and stuff. Not Sea King, which I think was the Wasp, I think. One of their helicopters, they changed the engine in them because this engine was a better way of makes it inaccurate, but you can still fly that helicopter because it has a certain engine in it. It's a Rolls-Royce engine. I can't remember which one it was now. But they take the old one out and put the newer version in because it helps it fly. So
I mean, to back up what Simon's saying there, I've got an Airfix story that Moss will know well. When they did the what was that silver biplane they did? Bristol Bulldog. They got drawings, and then they went to the museum in Bristol to scan the actual aircraft, and they found that the scans didn't match the drawings. And then they discovered the museum aircraft was actually crashed and so badly damaged it could never be restored for flight. So it was quickly thrown back together as a museum piece.
Yeah.
People that go to the museum and say, this kit's not accurate because it doesn't match the museum piece. Yeah. It doesn't match the museum piece because the museum piece isn't accurate. It's not a kit.
Well, that's why that's what I warned Dale about with the P1127.
Yeah.
They all crashed.
Yeah. I can't remember who it was.
Basically, you will only get one accurate depiction of a Nimrod because the Nimrods were all hand built, the real ones.
Yeah. There was somebody.
The one that they used to make the model of, that's the only one that's actually accurate.
Yeah. Just on the flip side, I remember somebody put a post up on Facebook, and we all laughed about it at the time. We weren't nasty. We went on the commenting. We just laughed at the comment. And somebody had been to Bovington Museum and selected a few tanks, and actually went along each of them and painted the colours that he had of the browns to see if they would match the tank. So if you want to build this tank here, Bovington have it in this colour, and that makes it accurate. Well, no, because Bovington don't, the paint job is not accurate. It's there to preserve the tank. The top will get rusty. That's it. You can use Vallejo, but it won't be Vallejo, I tell you. You know what I mean? It's nothing anyone builds is 100% accurate. You can get close, but never 100%. For me, I don't worry too much and just go for what looks pleasing to the eye. Now, there's a man who's won a few competitions at Telford, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a man who's won a few competitions.
And there's the obvious one, because if you think about it, if you create a mold for a plastic kit, that's going to be the same identical plastic kit for the entire release set of 5,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
But you won't get 5,000 identical aircraft.
No, exactly.
Because there will be tiny differences between each individual airframe.
Locks 9, model companies are the only reason there is aftermarket companies, because they are slack in doing their research. Without the model companies, there would be no aftermarket. And also, it's a lot of these model companies design things to cost and scale and price. If you want a completely accurate plane, you would go to Air Scale and spend 900 quid on it, or whatever, was it £300 on a plane. But if you want a 50 quid kit that you want to knock together, and if you want to add it, that's why they do it. It's no other reason why. If Airfix brought out a kit that had resin this, nobody would buy it because you couldn't afford to buy it.
No.
Everything's done at a price point. And if you want to make it more accurate, then it's up to you to go to these aftermarket companies and buy the resin, etc. To do it as you want. So, depending on subject and the parts they got wrong, I build Star Wars kits, and I generally don't care if they use a Tiger exhaust instead of a Panther on the back of a Millennium Falcon.
or use your Sherman hull on the back of the X-Wing.
Yeah. Emma Bird, spot on, totally right. Think of the art world. There are realist and impressionist. Both are valid. Yeah.
Of course, follow up with that comment, we have to consider in our hobby, realist artist license.
Yeah, artist license.
Appreciating yourself. There are people that say, you never see appreciated on the aircraft. Yes, you do.
But like I said, it's like you got to look at sometimes our hobby as a movie. One of my favourite films with Tom Hanks in is Apollo 13.
Yeah.
And they do a scene in it where they kick off at each other because Ken fucking done the valve and it blew the tank, and they started to blame each other. That never happened, but they put that in to make, if not the film, be rather boring. You know what I mean? They put that in to increase the level of of interaction between. Yeah. And I think that you've got to look at, we are artists, and we interpret what we see. The plastic is our canvas. If there's and some artists will use different paints, different shades, to get the impression that they want. And I think if we can look at it like that and not, critique, and I think that's why I don't see a lot of nastiness. If you get a new modeler, bring up, this is what I built, and the paint might be a bit thick, and the decals look a bit uneven. You don't knock the guy, you encourage him and say, what a great effort. Maybe next time try this. You don't get a lot of nastiness on the forums, to be honest. Because
I also remember back to how I was when I built my first 2 or 3 kits.
Yeah.
And usually these guys' efforts are better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, the first kit I ever built, an Airfix half track with a trailer, you know.
Yeah.
And God, that finished in 2 weeks.
No, everyone's, you know, I'm not a boxer. I'm a boxer, not an artist.
I'm not a pugilist.
Yeah.
That's stupid, and a waste of time.
I like Chris. I like Chris Eubank. I think he's sound.
My name is Chris Eubank. I'm a boxer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why he ever named himself after a kind of carpet sweeper, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How would he pronounce the word Airfix?
Airfix.
Airfix, wasn't it?
Airfix.
Yeah.
Good looking guy. I mean, I don't know what it's because I've been interested in the boxing, obviously. Because for me, he was one of the last of the greats. Joe Kozaki, after him, boxing went to shit. So that's what I think, anyway. But I mean, watch a lot of his stuff and the way he talks and the way he's really upset about his son throwing an egg, and he goes, "I did not teach you that. You know why are you? Let's be British. Let's have morals. It's great. It's great. Anyway, Wayne Stiller and Stiller Streets comment currently building the Very Fire Missouri Advance and loving the detail and accuracy. Ask me in a few months if I still feel the same." And that I find reference photos and try to make a kit look like what I find. As long as it looks similar, I'm happy. I don't even go that far. I'm not one of them. I'll just build what's on the box. It's the box art and the little bit of history that got me into building that kit.
Yeah.
In fact, I've built kits that I've never even heard of, but because it's got an Airfix logo on it, I'll build it.
Yeah.
That's
why I built the Lysander.
I am with Annette on this one because I'm one of those mad hatters that actually gets separate props because the Spitfire Mark 5s that they sent over to Australia had a different de Havilland prop with a different spinner, and I get that one because I want it to be different.
Yeah, but Zinzan will tell you that Spitfires use loads of different modifications throughout its entire career.
As did Hurricanes. You won't find an identical Mark 1 Hurricane throughout its life. There's so many changes on that one. But that makes it fun. If you have a picture
even during the Battle of Britain, if you looked at all the field mods that are added to the Spitfire, honestly.
Well, I mean, the things like the operational maintenance unit changed the colorings, part way through the builds, and when they first came out of the factory, the Spitfires had the night and white undersides with all the stenciling on it. So you had on the white side you had black stenciling, and on the black side you had white stenciling.
Yeah,
and they were to be overpainted either on the squadrons or at OMU, the operational maintenance units, with the Sky Type S, the sky blue. But they were all painted different colours because it being wartime, people just got whatever they could find and stuck any old thing on there. And some of the undersides were closer to white than they were to Sky Type S.
But you have to think about ease of production as well, which is the same reason that they switched from painting to aluminium in the US, for instance, because it saves time. You don't want to change your production line steps in painting because you want to have a different color. Because in the first place, that would mean you would need to paint for that one, shipped over to the factory. So you ship them out with the standard paint and have it fixed on the maintenance unit level.
The other point to make about this, if you want to make a Spitfire, say a Mark 1 mid accurately, and you want to be as accurate as you can, and this is another bit of rivet counting, so shoot me, but the internal components were painted that internal cockpit green, but once again, because they came from different subcontractors, they were all painted a slightly different shade.
That's right.
So if you want to make it accurate, so you might, for example, make the gun heating pipe a different green to the to the frame 9 panel. You might make the behind the frame 11 a different color again, because it would have come from a different supplier. This is all about the being, for me anyway, putting the accuracy in that you think is worthwhile. In the same
it's like seeing Harriers when they're being built. They should be technically in strontium chromate, all different shades of yellow. And don't ask me about the American stuff because it's green.
Well, I mean the
wartime American aircraft weren't all green inside. Some of them were yellow.
Technically, blue.
They used the yellow green. The yellow green
but
colour.
when they used to operate in the Pacific, that colour would go brown. It would corrode to a brown weird colour.
What they didn't do was use that yellow green in the cockpits. They used another green colour because this yellow green apparently was carcinogenic, and they understood that it was poisonous at that stage. Now, the other point about accuracy is that, for example, Tamiya used a lot of photographs of restored kits, and I noticed somebody on the comments made a point about this earlier on, that quite often restored aircraft are used as examples, and you see this quite a lot on the Tamiya kits particularly, and I noticed the Corsair supporting material. An awful lot of the photographs being used there are from restored Corsairs, and even F4U4s when you've got an F4U1 model. So you'll always tell an F4U4 because it's got that chin scoop underneath. And the F4U1s don't. But there are several.
But it's got bent wings. That's enough.
It absolutely. It's got an engine at the front, so who cares?
Well, as Nigel will tell you, obviously Tamiya's 148 scale Lancaster. Basically, they used the one at Cosford. Right, was it S for sugar?
All right.
And that Lancaster had been extensively rebuilt. The biggest problem, aside from the windows, was the undercarriage. They've neglected to check to make sure that it didn't have the undercarriage locks in it. So the Lancaster sits too high on the wheels.
I mean, I suppose the point to make about this is that accuracy is as accuracy does, and as our esteemed friend John Alec, who's left his dog in charge of the video stream, good for him. He says, and I agree with this. It's your canvas. Do what you want to do, and if a certain level of accuracy is good enough for you, that's fine. And no one should ever be critical. I noticed another comment here where a guy said he'd shown his Lancaster, and that he'd been critiqued about the smoke, damage on the surface. And I must admit, I've seen smoke damage on the surface of inner engines, upper wing sections. In fact, I'm sure I saw one earlier on today when I was loafing around on the internet doing nothing in particular, eating Cheetos and such like. But yeah, it's your canvas. Do it how you want to do it, and that's good enough for me, quite frankly. You won't find any criticism from me on that.
Nunu's in the house, and he's saying, I usually say that I am not a scale modeler but an assembler. I enjoy the build and paint of the plastic model. If it's accurate or not doesn't make a difference for me. Do what makes you happy, mate. This assembler, Alex, that really winds me up. You're not an assembler, and you know what an assembler is Lego. Lego's assembly, all right. Lego. You are putting plastic. You are putting plastic to plastic, and that's hard enough as it is. To say you're an assembler is bullshit. I despise that term. If you want assembly, you do Lego, right? You're a scale modeler, so don't say that, all right?
Nuno is very good at spraying things pink.
Yeah, that's interesting. Tani saying different company has different choice of rivets. Zvezda's KA52 has outward rivets, while the Trumpeter's Hind has inward. Prefer the inward for weathering. But the Zvezda kit was probably an old kit, wasn't it? To have out. Wow.
What he's saying there, Moss, and a lot of people said it about the Airfix Sea King. Helicopters generally have raised rivets.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to be aerodynamic.
No.
But generally, Trumpeter will depict everything with recessed rivets. Zvezda's done a more accurate job. And the thing is, it's like you had people moaning that the Airfix Sea King had recessed rivets that should have been raised. If they'd made it with raised rivets, people would be moaning that they can't recreate the finish when they sand down the seam lines because of the raised rivets.
Yeah.
You can't please everyone all the time.
No.
Well, I think the classic example is the Airfix Shackleton. It doesn't have any rivets. It has lovely panel lines. It has no rivets.
Yeah.
Rebel kits don't tend to have rivets, do they?
The early tool Lancaster Airfix did the only Lancaster they did with rivets on it.
The latest tool one doesn't.
Neither did the one they released in 1980.
No.
The 70s Revell one, that had a lot of rivets.
The latest release Revell one doesn't have any rivets.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, Rebel's Shackleton, the one that comes with the note of apologies, the ex-Frog one, it's like a cheese grate the amount of rivets it's got.
We've got an Australian list watching us tonight. Diecast Salvage, nice for you to jump in, my friend. Thank you very much. Comment. All these UFO flying saucer kits, where they get the reference material for them?
Yeah.
Are the designers getting special access to Area 51?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just the truth. Yeah, but apparently what I was told was that UFO flying saucer is the most accurate flying saucer ever modeled by a scale modeling company.
Is that right?
Yeah. You still argue with them.
I've got an egg plane here and the canopy's way off.
See, that's another thing about accuracy. I know Alex put a post up tonight saying that his shop now is going to be, because he hates egg planes. Me, I think they're the greatest mojo model kits you can buy. 12 pieces, roughly, easy to put together. And if you want to try out different different techniques, those egg planes are fantastic.
Yeah.
They are really, really good. And you can pick them up for a couple of quid. They're not expensive to buy. But if you want to try a different technique out, and it's something that's like a little bit playful when they look at it, and I think they're a great addition to scale modeling, because sometimes we are very serious, aren't we? We are very, very serious. And I think egg planes give us that little something to be joyful about. I did that flanker. My friend Kim, I love the man. He's such a great lad. And he loves his flankers. And I built, that was the guy who, when Nigel gave me that tractor unit, I built that for Kim's flankers. So that when he puts on display, I'll put my little truck with it, my little tractor with it. But also at the arse end of a flanker, I'll put my little egg plane flanker right on the arse end to say that's the little baby flanker. The guy winds him up, but it's a bit of fun, isn't it? But those egg planes, when you look at them, be honest, you see it, that's a mosquito, that is. When you look at them, accuracy wise, if you look at these planes, that's an F-14. That's that's a Spitfire. You look at them, Meng did a Titanic.
They did.
got a little bit of criticism for that Titanic, but it's fantastic. They are brilliant.
I've got a Titanic with the extra wooden deck.
got a wooden deck for the egg plane Titanic.
Yeah, is it Meng? Is it a Meng one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Meng? I think it might be.
They do a Tiger One, an egg Tiger One, and the gun on that is absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
I've got an HMS Hood, and I've also got somewhere. I've got an egg Lancaster as well. Oh, Dottie, you want to come up?
I didn't realise there were so many different egg models. I think that's extraordinary.
There you go, a little egg plane Titanic. And just look at it, but you know that's a Titanic, don't you, when you see it? And that's what I mean. They are just a bit of fun, and I'll tell you, and you can build them in about half an hour.
I tell you what, they're more accurate than the generic AI art representation of them.
Yeah. So if you want something to do technique on and build something to as what do they call it? What's the word? What do you call it when you build a model and use it to test things on, test techniques on?
Test mule.
Thank you.
A mule. That's the word I was trying to get out. They are brilliant. So yeah, it's all good. Egg planes are to the modern world what steak is to vegans. Taxi.
Shots fired.
I think they're great. I think they're fantastic. They are what they are. So
they're so overpriced, man. I bought one once, you know, and for what you get, you know, it was nearly it was between $25 and $30, but I built one just to build one, and that's it. Yeah,
but they're a good mojo build, though, aren't they? They're easy to put together, aren't they? But,
like 2 hours.
Yeah, but this one was 13 quid. 13 quid. You know, it's a bit of fun. Great little mojo.
You got the aftermarket wooden deck for it, boss.
You got an aftermarket one, have you?
I've got an aftermarket wooden deck for my Titanic.
Fantastic. Oh yeah, the Toon Tank. Yeah, the KV2 was a good one. What they called again? Yeah, egg armor are known as Toon Tanks. They're a bit of fun, you know. So I get that, you know. Which is more accurate, an egg plane or a Mr. Crap model? I will tell you now.
It depends on which ones you get actually, because actually, like John said, he's paid a lot of money for them. It really depends. I know Hasegawa has them. They tend to be expensive. You're way better off getting them over from Hobby League Japan, for instance, if you want to do that. That's way cheaper.
But it does depend on which
Freedom
kit.
I got the Hasegawa.
And then I think they're quite expensive for what you get. Especially if you get them from the stores.
Julian.
Those Mr. Crap kits, they are terrible. They're not inaccuracy. They are pretty accurate. Just put them together and they're old and they're tired and they've been told by everybody. So
what about the old
not as bad as Atlantis
132nd scale kits? What was their name?
Hey?
They were really cheap. They did a series of 132nd scale fighters.
Oh, that was oh god.
Oh, when you say it.
Oh god.
Yellow badge, wasn't it?
Model 2000 were they called?
No.
They did a Veltro, a Mackie C202, didn't they? MC202.
Yeah, they did like 32nd scale fighter aircraft for like $8.99.
Yeah, they were 32nd.
Lindbergh, Aurora.
No.
Don't think they did.
Was it the oh, I think I know what you mean.
God, what were they called?
Was it
one name like Airfix or Tamiya? It was like
Starfix
miniatures or something like that.
Starfix did 148.
21st century.
Thank you.
21st century.
25th century, that's it. That's the company. I thought it was Model 2000, but it's 25th century.
Yeah.
They were absolutely amazing, I think.
Yeah.
Never built one, but let me know.
I do remember building the Aurora Crusader in 132nd, and that had an operational ejector seat.
Crusader.
I'll tell you what, when we mention egg planes, everybody comes out of their shell with their jokes, don't they?
Yeah. Crack them all the time, don't they?
They try to, yeah.
And Moz makes terrible yolks.
Yeah.
I feel I'm walking on eggshells.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cracker egg.
That should be careful.
Every subject they're doing misshaped, aren't they?
Cracker egg.
I've had enough of these yolks. Shut up.
Daddy looks lovely.
Daddy,
Daddy looks lovely.
Yeah. So
it's all scrambled.
Yeah.
I can only say that you started it.
Isn't it funny that we look at accuracy in a military sense, but do you look at cars and think about accuracy of the cars?
Oh God, yes.
Or track? Yeah. I don't personally, because I see a car and I don't look at what it looks like inside. I'm just more interested if it's a white, a red, or a blue, or a green car, like, you know.
Yeah.
Formula One. I don't see many Formula One cars of old that have been re-released ever going to be accurate again, because most of the decals now won't contain cigarette advertisement, or they'll wing it in a different way, won't they?
You buy the aftermarket decals, don't you?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that scale model, when you buy a Tamiya kit of a Formula One car, if you buy one now, those decals won't be accurate, because there would have certain companies that won't allow them to license their branding on it.
Tell me about it. These days with Tamiya kits, you don't even get tire decals.
No.
You don't get. I mean, this. Nobody's actually asked, why have I got these 3 kits behind the ear?
We just thought you were advertising.
Yeah, we thought you were advertising, mate.
Except you're hinting that you want the Fiat 131 in 1:1 scale.
Do you not get the link? Come on,
Yeah,
guys. Somebody's going to notice in the chat.
They're all labeled.
All Tamiya are all the same kit.
Is that the Fiat 131?
Yeah.
Oh, you got one of you?
It's got 3.
One.
No, did you get a real one?
I've got 4. I think I have, yeah. I think.
Oh, well done, mate. Well done.
I think
I've got the link. Yeah.
Yeah, 131. No one's got it.
Well, only the fact that as a 131 on bricks.
No, I don't do those because I can't do the decals, man. I know I'm going to screw them up.
This show is number 131.
Oh, right. Is that what it is?
Oh.
Very good. Very good.
Them there.
Boy, do I feel dumb.
Come over now.
And I put the title in as well. And
you bloody clunker.
Yeah, the Tiger 131, right? Yeah.
I got. I go and buy cars and decals. Right, look what I got this week. Come through the door this morning.
Oh,
wow!
Honestly, mate. Now there's. It's got the Michelin Man scheme in it and everything. It's great. 1992 world champion decorated. It's got like embossed on there. It's embossed.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
I think that was only released once.
Is it really?
There won't be many of them on the market now.
I've got one.
Have you? There won't be many of them on the market. By the way, Moss, did you see those 2 really rare Airfix cars on eBay this week?
Yeah, I did. A lot of money, wasn't it?
Moss bought them.
What were they?
They were 2 American muscle cars.
They call them the custom cats, weren't they?
Dodgy, shut up.
But yeah, I'm. They only released
280 quid or something you wanted for them?
Yeah, he wanted megabucks for them. But it's the thing,
I know they're made up with bits missing and all sorts.
Yeah. Well, there's a Ferguson tractor on at the moment, no box, but I looked, all the parts are there. Bidding starts at 190. Now don't fucking bid on it, anyone, because I've got a couple of hundred on that one. So if you bid on it, I'll break your face, all right? Because I want to get one. Because all the parts are there, because I've looked. But if
you can build it.
£200. Yeah,
I'll tell you
what,
Moss, if you build that Ferguson tractor, it'll be the most viewed video you'll ever put on eBay.
It won't, though. It won't. It won't. It won't. I promise you that. It won't. No, and also you would find it hard to put together anyway because you can't use cement on it. Apparently, it's got to be super glue, isn't it?
Why?
Because of the type of plastic it's
because of the plastic.
Well, they didn't have super glue back in the day, did they?
They used bone glue back in the day, didn't they, Nigel? Like a resin bone glue they used back in the day.
Wow.
That's what I was told. But I've got a bid on it, so nobody bid on it, please, because I want it.
Apparently, BTK Spitfires built out the same stuff.
Yeah.
Just to go back to your talking about decals on cars.
Yeah.
If you look at this, that should have Pirelli down here.
Yeah.
It should have the headlight company, Chromador or whatever it is.
Hella.
Cinzano here.
Yeah.
It's all missing because they don't pay any sponsors. But what's amazing on this, they've still got the tyre lettering molded on the tyres. On the bigger kits, they've got rid of it.
Yeah.
They've taken the tyre molding off the tyres. But that one's still got it, which is incredible.
Is there tyre molding on the Airfix one, Moss?
I'm just going to look now, actually. No, you said it.
Probably not.
Is it resin? Is it resin or?
They're vinyl tires.
No, they're vinyl tires.
Yeah.
You've probably got decals for it. I can't remember now.
I'm having a look at the decals now.
Because the ones that came to Airfix through, is it AMT? Oh, I can't remember. But they had embossed vinyl tyres with the Continental or Avon written on them.
American kits used to have the tyre lettering printed on, didn't they? And the white wall.
They were embossed for you to paint.
Oh, these were all the American kits used to have them pre-painted on.
Yeah, the ones in the Airfix boxings were embossed.
Right.
No, I don't think so, mate. They've got the Michelin Man and Michelin as a decal, but it's not curved for a tyre. Well, hang on, let's just have a look for that a minute. Just check the. Oh no, yeah, you put the Michelin in white around the edge.
Yeah,
they
that's
should
right.
come with the. You can't see it on camera, but those two white ones there got Michelin written on them.
It's got tyre decals, does it?
Yeah, they go on the vinyl. Yeah, that work. It would work, wouldn't it?
Are you going to build that, Moss?
Of course.
Are you going to video build it?
I might do. Yeah. Depends how good I do it.
You'd have to seal the decals on that vinyl tyre, though.
I'll tell you what, though, that's a hell of a thick. They're hell of a thick. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. The hell of a thick film on the top of them.
They're probably going to break up as soon as you put them in the water.
Will they? What if I use that? Come on.
You know what? It's a Peugeot car, don't you?
They're quite thick. If I twist it, I'll show how thick if I twist it. How thick they. Oh, can you see how thick they are?
Yeah.
Oh, they're cracking up. They're cracking up.
Every company on that decal shit is French.
It is. No, Esso isn't French.
Esso's American, isn't it?
Yeah, Dassault, Peugeot. I want to know what's the company here? Magneti Marelli. What's that? What company is that?
They're Italian.
ECUs and stuff.
Education, Moss.
They're what? Sorry.
They're Italian. They do electronics like distributors and.
Oh, I see.
Right,
ECU.
It's Magneti Marelli.
Can you see? There's a hole in the decal sheet there, right above it. You see that?
Is that your little piece of curve?
That's because you see that little point there.
Yeah.
That's proper sharp. That is. So they put the decal in at the bottom of the box.
Oh, don't start me off on that. I do that in every single one of my reviews. And the
hole, and it's gone through the hole. You can see the hole in the cardboard box there. Just gone through the decal, through on there, bastards.
The only company I praise is Airfix.
Yeah.
They put their decals in the instructions, don't they?
Yeah.
But this one hasn't in the instructions before Dale. I think this is like before Dale was there.
That was Humbrol days.
ICM is doing that now as well. They're putting
I'll tell you what,
in the instructions.
there's a lot of detail. Look at the engine and all that. You know, talk about mini art. Look at that for an engine.
Moss,
Taking the piss.
please don't compare a fucking old Airfix kit to mini art. Come on.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
could put the gold head.
they could have molded that in one bit.
Water for fucking whiskey. God,
Moz has been sniffing glue, everybody.
sounds like it.
Do you know what though, lads? All jest aside, there's only 8 steps to building this kit.
It's like mini art, yeah.
Yeah, there's like mini art.
Yeah.
We have a laugh, gents.
The mini art have 250 parts to each box on the instructions.
Yeah, mini art would have 47 pieces to each wheel rim. What about instructions, Moss?
Yeah.
Team Pocker's new instructions.
Are they good, are they?
My God.
They took me up on it then, did they?
Look,
Bloody hell.
all CAD images.
Bloody hell.
Do you know who I showed that to at last year's Telford?
Yeah, you did.
I showed it to Michael, didn't I? Who does a lot of podcast.
Yeah, this was done before Telford.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, because I've got the originals.
But the question is
that
is
what
that
was that for? That new car? Is that for the new car? Is it?
That's the Pagani Utopia.
Yeah, I never understood why they did that, Pagani.
Not me.
No, it's a weird one. That.
It's weird.
Can you ask him to send me one, please, Nigel, as a mate? Cheers.
No. I don't get it. They've sent me that kit. I've got it here. But it's not being released until June. They've put their own video build out of it. But they've asked me not to put out any videos until they say so.
Nigel, just do it. Just do it.
What, put one out before they say so?
Yeah,
the last time we'll get a sample kit off of
it. Right, so say, that bloody Nigel, he's put a video out before you said he could do it. I think you should send those kits to me.
I've already done it, Nigel. I've already done it. Actually, I was because I what they called Thunder Modern sent me this, didn't they? And I did a review on it.
Yeah.
And I went for their response on it because I told them straight. I think the PE is fucking ridiculous on it. If you look through the comments, how many people agree that they've overdone the PE on it?
Yeah.
There's no need for it. There is no need for it.
They've overdone the P and they've overdone the PE and they've underdone the instructions.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Right,
Must be a Chinese company.
Yes,
My
they are.
opinion, I said, I put on the video, I said, look, you know, you've compromised this kit with photo etch. How can you have a crane, Nigel, at the back? A crane.
Yeah.
Was it there? That bit there. And that bit coming off the top there, that bit there, is all photo etch. Why? There's no reason why that should be photo etch.
It's because they didn't want to put it on the jig, did they?
They should have done that. I think. Well, if I show you quick, look at this.
There's
you
the,
tell me. So that bit there. Where am I to that? Right. So hang on. Let me do it. So that bit there's plastic, and then that boom that comes off, that is complete photo etch, and you got plastic pulley there, which then attaches to over there. There's a fine line there.
Yeah.
That is going to bend and twist. That's not good. That is not strong enough.
There's the boom, boss.
That's the boom, is it?
That's the plastic boom built up, yeah.
But then you got the back end, which is all photo etch, yeah?
This is the Mirror Models kit. It's different from that one.
Oh, is it? Okay. But I said, I think
this is the one with fucking 8-inch wide screw gates.
Ah. I've actually got your video. I started watching your video tonight because you put it on, but I didn't know it was an hour long, so I started watching it. Then I put a comment saying, because I don't know how to fill in injection marks. I've never done it before, so you need to put it on there, mate, on the actual thing, not guide to model kit, part 38. You need to actually say how to fill in ejector pin marks.
The title says it.
All I saw was part 39. I didn't see it.
Part 21.
Yeah. But that made me laugh. My mini art water pump and bucket set has more parts than that Airfix kit. Yeah. Imagine if mini art made a farm tractor and sent it to Moss so we could watch him go crazy, especially if Apple's PE. They do a tractor.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They do a German tractor.
They do a dirt one, don't they?
Yeah.
And I showed that, you know, so.
Nigel told you how to build.
I got rid of it. My eyes could never cope with the PE on the mini art build Nigel was building. LOL. Which one were you building, Nigel? A lot of photo etch.
That's the little World War One Austin.
Armored car.
Did you finish it, Nigel, or not?
Oh yeah, no, it's still got on going.
Yeah. Good evening, guys. Please can you help me?
This one, didn't you? This has now been shown. That's photo etch.
Hang on, let me have a look at
Yeah.
that.
You didn't throw away then?
That's the photo etch. There's 168 pieces, I think, of photo etch, all soldered together.
Soldered?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Bloody hell.
That's the frame for USS Langley that supports the deck. But I don't like
a Langley of you.
You don't like it?
No, I bought another one.
Oh, shut up, Nigel. You've been a tart now, honestly. What do you mean you
No,
don't
I don't
like
like it. It's a bit baggy in places, so I'm going to do another one.
Nigel. Oh, Nigel, Sucker for Punishment, part 26. Yeah, I have a special place for the PE. It's called the bin. Yeah, but if you need to use it, you need to use it, don't you?
Yeah.
No, Nigel, are either you going to Gloucester on Sunday? Yes, I will be there on Sunday.
Oh, this Sunday?
Yeah, this Sunday coming, mate.
Is that
May the 4th. May the 4th it is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there, mate. We'll be there.
Yeah.
Alex will be there. I'll be there. We should be good.
Yeah, Moss and Nigel will be going as C3PO and R2D2.
Yeah, we're going to go cosplay in it. Yeah. He's going to turn up in the Mustang. I'm going to turn up in the Ferrari.
Can you take me on full screen, please, Moss?
Oh, sorry, you're still on full screen, aren't you? Does like being on full screen. Martin Keel, good evening, guys. Please, can you help me? I have found I have a reaction to super glue and need a replacement. Can I use an accelerant on the MIG acrylic ultra glue?
No.
No. Because it's not super glue, is it? It's no, you
Like
just got
PVA.
And don't you the quickest one I found was what have I done with it? Is the Ultra. What's it called? It's in a white bottle with a red label. What have I done with that one? I had it in last night, the other night. So I was talking to someone about it. It's actually cockpit glue, but it's is it called Formula 500 or something?
Formula 5000.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Canopy glue.
I like that. I haven't seen it for sale for a long time, but I've still got a bottle of it. That's the best stuff to use. What have I done with mine? Have you got some, have you, Nige?
60.
That's the stuff, yeah. Do you ever use it, Nige?
No.
Why not? It's good stuff, that. It's good, and it's quick. It dries quick and clear as well. Hair dryer might work. Not with plastic, I wouldn't.
No.
You could do it.
In this weather, I was using ultra glue yesterday or something, and it dries very, very fast in this weather.
Yeah.
But I was going to say to whoever it was, Martin, give it a go. Go and buy yourself a bottle of VMS super glue. Because I know what you mean. Super glue has this kind of, it stings your eyes and you get this cloudiness coming off it. VMS doesn't do that.
Yeah, a lot of the cheap and nasty super glue has the you get reaction from.
Yes.
It's the gas in the acrylate, though, isn't it?
And my lips are really dry.
Yeah, but it's the gas in the acrylate. That's what it is. Not the cyano bit, the acrylate bit.
Yeah.
The gas is off, doesn't it? That's why the gas gets inside the canopy, and they give it that. Yeah.
EMS stuff is. I don't get that.
See, I want to know is what's that new super glue that Revell's brought out that you use ultraviolet light. Now, apparently, people say you can use that on canopies. So you put it on, then you use the UV light.
Yeah, that's
it.
That's been going for years in China. You can't get it over here.
Revell sell it.
Revell sell it now, yeah, but it's been going for years in China.
Oh no, not being funny. Every time you go to the dentist, they use that glue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was just wondering whether if you could use that on canopies. The reason I say you can't is that in theory it only hardens at the edge where it's seen the light. And if you've got a canopy on and you glue it down, when you put the UV light on, I don't think it will go through the plastic. It has to be you can't have it distorted, I think. I don't know, I have to look into it.
I wouldn't want to chance it.
No. Try it on an egg plane and see how you get on.
I never use super glue anywhere where you've got captive.
Yeah.
You do if you're really daring.
Martin Mountford. So this weekend is the IPMS Gloucester Scale Model Show. If you go online and click IPMS or Google IPMS Gloucester Scale Model Show, I can't remember. Hang on, let me get my diary out a minute. Churchdown, isn't it? Let me just quickly look at my diary. I'll tell you the address of it actually if I go on my diary because I put the addresses on. IPMS Gloucester, the Churchdown Community Centre, Parton Road, Cheltenham, Gloucestershire, GL3 2JH. So it's at the Churchdown Community Centre. I'll write that down. Churchdown Community Centre. Community Centre. Yeah.
11.
I think you're right, just off there, isn't it? Parton Road. I'll put the postcode in for you guys. GL3.
It's actually a great little show.
It is very good. I reckoned it last year, and said to the lads we will need to get to that because the first time it was quite small. Now it's got very big. We all head up there, so it's about 2.5 hours for me to get there. So that's where it is. That's the model show. So if you want to go on Sunday, I'll see you there. I'll be with I've got it there, the Iska Scale Model Club.
Yeah.
That's my local model branch, IPMS. So if you want to go, I'll see you there. Is it a Nam? Cheltenham? Yeah, very good, mate. Yeah, very good. It's in Nam, Cheltenham. Yeah, I get that. It's good.
Cheltenham.
Anyway, folks, it's nearly 10 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Airfix and Chill.
Has it gone that quickly?
Yes, well, it always does when it's a controversial subject.
Yeah.
Always goes quick. Always goes quick. And we tried to be, everyone had their own thoughts on this, and as I said, you either do the wrong thing or say the wrong thing, and you can end up, getting on the wrong side of YouTube. But but it's 10 o'clock. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to just get this off here. Thank you, James. Thank you, Zinzan. Thank you, Dirk. Thank you, John. Thank you, Nigel. Thank you, John Alec. We'll see you next Monday. Have a good one, and we'll see you then. Take care. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.